During the pandemic, the government are offering lots of ways to help companies. Can you discuss some of the government lending options that are available to people out there?
Yes, of course. So these have been really, really popular. There are three main types: Bounceback Loans, the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, and then also Future Funds. So the one that has had the most uptake is the Bounceback Loans. So that is a loan for SMEs. It's up to £50,000. It's pretty straightforward to apply for. However, there have been some challenges in applying for them because there are only a small amount of banks that are able to actually offer. So if you don't have a bank account with one of the providers, it can be a bit more challenging to get one. However, they are really good loans. They're very low interest rates. There's no interest or fees to pay for the first 12 months. So, I've been advising clients that, they may not be sure if they definitely need them, but what is the downside of borrowing one? Because worst case, you give it back, you pay it back in full in 12 months. The Bounceback Loans, you have now an extended deadline. You have up to the 30th of November to be able to apply. So it's £50,000 or up to 25% of your turnover, but 50,000 is the cap. So, £200,000 business can go up to 50,000, £100,000 business obviously can only go up to 25,000. But really low interest rates. Originally it was 6 years to pay. After recent announcements, you now actually have up to 10 years. There's also the options for potentially you can have a 6-month freeze on payments if necessary. So it's really, it's one of the best, it's the best SME loan that I've ever seen. Then you've also got the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, so the CBills. These are available through over 100 lenders. So there's a lot of different finance companies and banks that are lending for CBills. Now, these are a bit more challenging to apply for. You have to go through a normal process for application. You have to make sure that you do have solid accounts. They do need to be showing profits. You also need to be able to show future forecasts. We've heard various different feedback on how difficult it is to get these. If you're a business that has got a really strong balance sheet, then often you have no problem at all. If you are a business that may have had perhaps a late payment or have had to negotiate terms with suppliers and things, you may find that it's a bit more challenging to get these types of loans. The best thing to do though is talk to your bank manager and get their advice on whether this loan could be applicable to you and the best way to do it. If your bank manager is not helpful or not positive, then there are quite a few really good quality brokers who are able to navigate the different lenders and will hopefully find the right option for you. Now, the CBills loans are much bigger. They're potentially up to £5 million that you can borrow. If you, however, borrow less than £250,000, then there are no personal guarantees, which is really good news if you are a bit worried. Then the government are guaranteeing 80% of the loan. With Bounceback Loans, the government are guaranteeing 100% of the loan. So it's much less stressful for the business owner taking out that loan. To increase your chances with your CBills application, get all the tips that you can from your bank manager. Also, make sure that you present your numbers in a true and fair and easy to understand format. Make sure that you have as much positive information as you can to give to your bank manager. So, for example, if you've got a really strong order book or really strong pipeline, show them that so that they can see that they will be paid back the loan. and you will need to have a really detailed forecast as well to show that you are able to pay it back. The other potential lending that is available, which actually isn't a lend, shall I explain, is the Future Fund. Now, this fund is more for fledgling but fast growing businesses. And what the government is doing with these is they're doing matched lending. So anyone that is investing in the business, say for example, an investor is putting in £500,000, potentially the government would also put in 500,000. However, what would happen is that lend would convert into equity at a later stage. There's 8% interest on it, and then later when it does obviously turn into equity. So you do have to be weigh up the cost of that, of how much equity you're giving away. But it's a very exciting thing for fast growing businesses that are trying to get more investment and may be struggling with finding investors in this current market.
Okay, perfect. And you mentioned a couple of things in there that there are some sort of things that are going to hold you back from getting them or make it more difficult for you to get these loans. If you had any advice to increase the likelihood of you getting one of these loans, what would you offer?
I would make sure that you apply when you've got the best possible scenario. So obviously you do have to adhere to when the deadlines are, but if you know, for example, that one part of your time, if you know, for example, that you're a bit of a cyclical business and that you're going to have a really good September, for example, make sure you submit once you've had your good September, because they will be looking at bank statements and they will want to look at your management accounts. So you want to show the best possible scenario of your business. So you don't want to be presenting your business when you're having your most difficult time. Now, obviously that can be very tricky in this current climate. So if you are just completely suffering because of the lockdowns, etc., then what you need to do is put down what would you have been able to do if there hadn't been the current restrictions, and see, and also get a bit more advice from the bank manager on how they would like to have it presented, because quite honestly, it's quite a long job for the bank managers to process these applications. So the easier you make their job, the better, and the more likely that they will champion your application.